But yeah, go ahead. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the MLO Bros live in Youngstown studio, downtown Youngstown. We are doing Youngstown's talk channel this morning. We'll be with you here for the next hour and a half. The objective of our show is to eventually replace Youngstown Radio. There is no more live Youngstown Radio, or there will be soon. It's coming to an end. So we are going to pick up where they left off. Our objective is to have a radio show or Facebook show, whatever you want to call it, from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You go into work, you turn us on, and we follow you through the day with a variety of different hosts down here in Youngstown. So let's begin. What are we talking about today, Luke?
I am setting this up right now. Hold on one more second.
Luke is setting this up. We are going to
call Joe over here while I do this.
Joe, get over here. I think we're going to talk about some school stuff, South Range drama with kids being removed from the district. We can compare that to Canfield with what they're doing. Their everything group's been talking about it too. So
do we have a call?
We have a call already. Let's take it. Let's just go. Let's see what they want to talk about.
Jeez, man,
we got a caller. Joe, there's the back of Joe's head right there. Check it out.
Oh, God, look at that thing.
Calling.
Hello. Hey, you're on the air.
Oh wow. Okay. So I was with the group outside the Magic Tree the other day.
Okay. Oh, let's touch this first before we get into South Range stuff. If we're waiting for the South Range stuff, we'll get back to that in a minute. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you messaged me, or we were messaging each other back and forth. Well, this is one of the
I saw somebody showed me your what you're talking about, and I went onto the Facebook group and I said, I don't know, I didn't listen to your broadcast. I went looking for it and I couldn't find it from that night, but I did talk to you on the Facebook. Right?
Yeah. All right. So you were just to set the pins. You are one of the protesters that were outside of the Magic Tree last week when Michael Ruley was there doing a fundraiser, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
From your perspective, what was that like? What was good? What was bad? What happened? Go ahead.
Well, what was good was that we had a pretty good sized group show up. We had like nearly, I think, 150, 160 people show up with their signs, and we behaved ourselves very well. We stayed primarily on the one side of across the street from the Magic Tree. We did not go on the Magic Tree property. We followed the rules about public protesting and did what we were allowed to do. And we actually had a cop walk up to us and say, thanks everybody for doing the right thing and, behaving yourself and being peaceful and good job. When the cops come up and say thank you, they make their job easy. That's fine.
Isaac and I would be total hypocrites. And Joe too would be total hypocrites if we said anything like we don't agree with people protesting anything.
Right.
I mean,
as long especially if you did it the right way,
peaceful.
Yeah.
Now, I did hear some rumors that there were some F-bombs flying. There were some fingers going up in the air, and I'm not talking about your pointy finger, though, right?
Right. Well, we had I know personally of one vehicle that drove by and the guy rolled his window down and flipped us off. And, he flipped us off, we flipped him back. Yeah. I didn't personally, but people did. So, you initiated, you did, that's what you put out there.
Yeah, natural reaction to someone flipping you off is to return the favor. I think that's fair.
Yep. And we understand that not everybody agrees with us. I mean, we get that. I mean, we know that.
Why? Let me ask. Why are you upset with Ruley?
Well, that's a good question. Because he and his office and his staff have basically been unresponsive to our inquiries as to why he is supporting Donald Trump's agenda.
So,
they haven't responded at all. We have asked him these questions and we have gotten zero answers. So we're upset. We want to talk to him. And he comes back and he issues a statement, or a written statement issued to the press that night.
Yeah.
Saying, Ruley's saying, I've only been in office, it's only been a couple of months. I haven't had time to organize anything yet. okay, well, you know what, Mr. Ruley, you organized a fundraiser or somebody organized it for you. This is what your staff is for. Your staff is, you delegate and you tell them to make this happen. But he had time to go, smooth with his donors, but he doesn't have time to figure out how to get 2 hours for us.
Let me ask you, and
we have a problem with that.
I would have a problem with that also. People who are elected at any level should respond, especially local guys like that. I mean, he's a state guy, but
at any level within politics, within a government official, it just stresses how important it is to communicate with the voters, with the people, in any topic, on either side. It doesn't matter. You have to communicate efficiently with the people, or else it's a black eye.
We're seeing on the news where they're doing these town halls. We're standing outside saying we want a town hall, and all across the country, people are having town halls. And when their Republican, GOP representatives show up and they ask them the hard questions, they seem to have these pat answers about, well, Elon is cutting waste and fraud. Don't you want to cut waste and fraud? Okay, well, it's not that we support waste and fraud. Life is never that easy. People do not support waste and fraud. We also, don't believe that that's actually what Elon Musk is doing, because he has no transparency about what he's actually doing. We want to know exactly what he's doing, and they're not telling us what he's doing. So I think going to support it.
I don't think that's correct. I don't think that's correct at all, because I think as somebody who wants to eliminate waste and fraud really bad, that I really want that to happen, I think he's communicating what he's doing incorrectly and inefficiently. I think he comes up with something, he finds something, he doesn't know exactly what it is. He thinks is it fraud or is it waste? He goes out on X and he screams out on X all these things that he's claiming are fraud, when he should take the time to go through it correctly and then release it in a way that's easier to digest, that's not just on X. So I think he is finding stuff.
Yeah,
I think there is a lot of ways.
The communication on the social media is,
But I think there is a lot of ways. I think there is plenty of ways.
Let me ask. Can I ask you a question? Have you gone to Doge.gov and seen what they're posting there?
I have seen screenshots of it. I have not gone to it. I've seen screenshots of it, and I haven't explored it.
Okay.
I have been busy actually doing active things in terms of helping the locals find their voice to say what they're upset with.
Yeah, well,
So
I'm just saying,
kind of facilitating and amplifying the local message.
that Doge.gov does give a very detailed list of what they're eliminating, down to like the thousands, wasn't it, Joe? Of like that, all that stuff. Now, the thing that normally a response from somebody in your position will be, I don't believe that, or it's all lies. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying you're going to say that, but
I've read that it's lies. I've seen, people say this isn't real. This isn't what's really happening.
So then I guess
maybe it's not. I don't know. I can't prove any of that one way or the other. What I know is that people are scared. People are worried. People don't know how to make a plan for the future. People are taking their money out of the bank and putting it under their mattress. People are afraid to go to work tomorrow because they don't know if they're going to walk in and find an email that says you're fired. I actually talk to people who are, worried that their employment is going to be gone poof, like overnight.
Well, I hate to say this to you, though, but listen, I feel very bad for those people in the government that are getting their jobs cut. I have worked in banking, though, for 20 years. I have seen entire departments fired. We're talking hundreds on a conference call 2 weeks before Christmas. And I understand.
Yeah, that's got some evil stuff to it, doesn't it?
Well, that's but I mean, and it's awful, but And the reason these banks were doing it was because they couldn't afford to pay the bills anymore, and there were cutbacks and this kind of stuff, and they had to trim the fat, so to speak. So, I mean, I understand. I feel bad for the people. I always feel bad for the people who lose their jobs, but that's kind of comparable.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question. Caller. So you have a really good person, right? You know they're a really good person. They work this job that they basically do nothing. They're totally inefficient. It's kind of a pointless job. And the company, as a leader, you have a decision to make. Yes, that's a good person, but that the job that they're doing is just a waste. They don't really do much. They clock in, they clock out. They're not a good worker. And it's like, okay, as leadership, do you keep them because they're a good person, or do you or do you fire them because they're not a good employee?
What you do is you have somebody, you have a person, you have an evaluation, you have a process, right?
Okay.
And we don't see Elon Musk going through this process of evaluating what's happening. He just went in and just said, turn it off. Well, wait a minute. We can't just turn everything off. And then when you stop the wheels from turning, he's not even aware of the repercussions of stopping that crank. And then there's all kinds of fallout. And he's like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. Well, maybe we need to slow down with the chopping block and say, let's look a little closer before we start cutting things off. That's my problem with it.
Okay. Hey, I totally understand that.
You have to evaluate this. These people are being fired without even being evaluated. The system is being turned off, and you can't evaluate how a system is running after you turn it off.
We appreciate the call. We appreciate the call. We have other callers on the line, so we're going to hit them. But thanks for calling. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much.
All right, can I say one more thing? I have one more thing?
Go ahead, quickly.
The people that were at this protest outside of the Magic Tree, these are he mentioned that maybe these people were not his constituents. These people are the constituents of Michael Ruley. Okay. They are voters in his district. So if he tells you they're not, he's lying. I know them.
I agree with that. I don't think people were getting paid. Like some people are like, they're getting paid. They're paid protests. No, they're not.
I think we're too small. Small potatoes.
All right, we have two callers right now. Rob, hang tight. I hear you over there. I see you waiting. He's Matt. What's going on?
Not too much, man. I heard you say something about the government and jobs. Like some people are probably useless, and that's why they got let go. But how do you know they're useless? Like, how do you know their jobs aren't meaningful?
Did you say that?
I didn't say they're useless and they're getting let go because they're useless. I gave that caller a hypothetical and said, if somebody is useless but they're a good person, do you get rid of them or do you keep them? And it's like, if it's a good person, I know it's a hard decision, but you got to get rid of them if they're not a good worker. So, but and the caller just made the same point.
Yeah,
where she was basically trying to say that Elon's making these decisions. He has no idea what's going on, who's good, who's bad, and he's just freaking shanghaiing everything, chopping block everything, chop.
He did go up on stage with the chainsaw.
Right.
Which was kind of dumb.
Which
too, by the way.
I think the national government is bloated, and I think it does need to be chopped up. But his excuse has been, and me and Joe have talked about this, and Luke have talked about this on the show in the past, if you're going to evaluate the system and try and find issues within it, what's good, what's bad, you're going to have all of these leaders with like managers within these government organizations making those decisions. How do you not know that those leaders aren't inefficient and those managers aren't inefficient? And what his excuse is, I'm just going to chop everything down, and if there is something missing, there is something good that can come out of it, I'll just put it back into place after the fact. So whether or not you agree or disagree with that but that's his game plan. But what do you think? You tell me.
So that sounds a lot like, so whenever I hear people talk about like cuts like this, or I hear this sometimes even in the private sector, they do stuff like this. It sounds like when I believe it was Mark Zuckerberg said that he likes to go fast and break things. And that's exactly what he's doing. He's going fast, he's making big changes, and he's in as a result breaking things.
Has anything?
Government.
I know they've fired people and then brought them back, right? But has anything really been proven to be broken yet? Or has anything been affected yet by the cuts to the general citizen? That's
luckily, the courts have stepped in to an extent. So the courts have, for the most part, stopped a lot of the nonsense that they're trying. And Trump also is trying to sidestep the courts, which is not a lot. Like, you can't do that. Courts are there for a reason, right? So if the courts fall through and Trump just goes and does things anyway, then it's up to the courts to, sanction them.
So
and
the court?
Then we're in trouble.
The court has stopped the birthright citizenship. I'm just doing this off the top of my head right now. They have stopped.
Okay.
Well, yeah, top of my head. Again, I'm not even going to cheat on ChatGPT. What else have they done? They've stopped the birthright citizenship. They've stopped. Do you know any other ones? Can you name any, Matt? I'm trying to think of the other ones they stopped. Joe's looking it up.
I'm trying to go off the top of my head as well. I know they recently blocked a mass firing of probational employees for a certain sector. I can't think of where it was though. And they did that, I think, once or twice.
Right.
So he still did let people go, and I believe they're still planning to let go, I think, 80,000 VA employees or something like that, which is going to be awful for the VA. Which we've talked about previously.
Yeah, that one.
I'm not going to go over that again.
That one does alarm me too. The VA one, you start screwing with the veterans. I think that's an issue. I have issues with. I was going to talk about the Social Security thing here in a little bit too, because I was kind of going back and forth. I'm kind of torn on that one too. We can talk about that in a little bit.
Let's do it.
We'll talk about that in a little bit. We want to get to the South Range thing, but Matt, thanks a lot, man, for calling, dude.
Appreciate the call, buddy.
For sure, man.
Feel free to call in again, and we'll talk some more. So, all right. Oh, dude, Joe, I'm not allowed to talk to Mouse. Can I do this?
Next caller, are they live? Let Joe do it. Just let Joe do it.
I have a control problem.
Stop.
I have a control.
Just talk. You're good at talking.
Rob, what's going on, dude?
Oh, not much. I could talk on this federal workers thing since I've been in this game for the last almost 18 years.
You are a military. You are military too, correct?
I'm reserve.
Reserve?
Yes,
okay.
I'm a weekend warrior, but I was also a federal worker, and right now I'm a contractor.
Okay.
Two kinds of federal workers. You got federal workers that work directly for the DOD or the government.
Okay.
And these guys, when you first get hired on, you get a 1-year probational period. So if you're useless in the job, they can fire you.
Okay.
Once you hit that year, over a year, you're pretty much invincible. So you can be lazy as hell and not get fired. I have interacted with government workers for a long time, and some of them are quite lazy, and I can see why this is going on. But then there's also my case where there's contractors, where you're working for the federal government on a contract. You actually work for a company that has a contract with the federal government, so you work directly for that government,
right?
For the company. But but I have come across a lot of government workers that are completely useless, and I don't even know why they have a job. And pretty much, just trying to be your expert here. And
I hate to say that, but that's like that at the state level, at the local level for government, and that's like that at any job.
Private,
at any job, there's people who don't work. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is in life, where you're going to get people who suck.
So in my one buddy, he got hired on for my old federal job, and he's still on his probational period right now. He's nervous as hell, and he's 25 years retired Navy, and he's nervous as hell right now. And then I've also seen government workers that I work for that they took the early out, but these guys have been in the federal game for 20 years, and Elon Musk and the government's paying them all the way out till September, and then they're going to take an early retirement.
That's not bad.
So
get paid all the way to September.
Yeah,
that's not bad, right?
And then retire.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's the other thing that a lot of folks don't talk about is like, and I don't really know all the details about it, but all these government employees that are getting laid off, like, what's the severance package like?
I think they're getting.
I think it's good,
fairly good.
I think it's very.
But
good
a lot of the people on the left have been like, "Oh, they're not going to pay up. This is not going to happen. They're lying." Like it's all. It always comes out like people saying,
"Right, it's not going to happen." But we'll see. I guess we have to wait and see what happens as it unfolds. But there's definitely, like one commenter says, There's definitely 30 trillion in debt. What's intelligent about 30 trillion in debt? No business would last or grow for that long without a correction. So it's like, you got to do something. Like, you can't just keep operating.
Yeah. All right, Rob, thanks for calling, dude. Go take a nap while you're at work.
Living off of the taxpayers' teat.
We'll talk to you later, buddy. Oh, it's our friend 17.
17.
Yeah. The last caller was absolutely perfect. I mean, he gave facts, he has experience, he knows what he's talking about. And that is what Trump said, especially the IRS workers. I think 77,000 took the buyout, which is 8 months severance. You do not get that in the private sector. That is being very generous with our tax dollars. And then I heard that some people were getting a $25,000, just $25,000, you know?
Right.
That is, again, so generous with our tax dollars. I almost don't agree with that. But a lot of these people were working from home. And this is why Trump and Elon are going after all this real estate the government has that's empty. All of these square feet, I forget how many in the country, that is basically empty, that we're paying for with our tax dollars because all these people just want to sit at home. So that's another thing. That's another fact.
Yeah.
And I remember Biden saying he was going to hire 80,000 IRS workers. Now, I don't know if he did, but he did say that publicly. So again, like the person wrote or whoever said, $37 trillion in debt. I mean, don't these people get it? We are literally broke.
Yeah.
Literally.
Right.
I used to think that same thing as you, that you said where, why would you give them $25,000? That sounds like a waste. But out of Elon's mouth in some of his interviews, he has said, you might think that, but when you really break it down over time, it's worth it to give them a really good severance package and pay them a lot of money up front, because over time, it's just going to be gone.
Matt Squeakero is countering that, saying, yeah, because that makes up for losing their pension, insurance, and jobs.
Right.
Sure.
But you pay them a really high.
It sucks that you lose your pension.
It sucks that you lose all that stuff, but you get a really good severance so that you have, I think some of them were like a couple years or something, or so many. Maybe it's like, if you don't have a job after that, a year or two, and you're getting paid all this money, and you keep it if you get a job.
I think, you know what my problem is? Like you always say, you don't have a heart or a soul,
right.
But I have seen some shit. Excuse me, that's 10,000. Because, like I said, working in the retail sector of banking, and you hear about it all the time with banking, like I lived through the mortgage crisis where everybody was getting fired. You know what I mean? And it was like people were losing their jobs before Chris, like thousands of people.
Right.
And because they had to do it because these banks were going to go out of business, right? And they were going to lose, lose their. And it's like, I guess I feel bad for
this
these people,
in like the market collapse of 07, 08.
Oh,
you went through it. You lived through that.
I lived through it.
All right.
And it was like, I hate to say it, but it's like, it's business. And I don't think people are looking at it like business.
Yeah.
They're looking at it like government.
Yeah. And you have said before too, that in those situations when the government swooped in and said, "Oh, too big to fail, we have to save these banks,"
should have failed.
That's BS.
They should have failed.
They should have let them collapse. Have you ever heard any of the theories about why they didn't let it fail? Because it came down to like one man. The wealthy people who would have lost their. Yeah.
All right. Well, 17. Thanks for the call as always. We
appreciate
thank you so much.
You know, I was just going to say the other thing that they mentioned, the judges, and they're going to stop Trump. So Chuck Schumer said we have put in place 235 judges, I guess, at the federal level that are going to fight Trump. I mean, that is not what you do. Okay, he was elected by over 80 million people. You don't just put judges in place who are going to be judicial activists because you know, orange man bad. I mean, it doesn't work that way. But that's their strategy, and that's what they're doing. It has nothing to do with common sense.
Here's 17. We appreciate you calling. We're going to let you go here. We'll give our opinions on that now, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Here's my take on those judges. If it was reverse,
right?
If it was a Democrat doing this, and the Republicans had judges in place, the Republicans would say, "Oh, it's totally fine. This is what the way it was set." And like it's the typical
both sides, right?
Yeah,
I'm always going to critique both sides.
Yeah,
Trump should respect the courts.
Yeah,
and the left needs to realize that if they weaponize the court system, which they claim that Trump was going to do, if they weaponize the court system to attack their political rivals, it will go. The shoe will go to the other foot. Eventually, you're going to have somebody worse than Trump that's or somebody on the left that's trying to create a socialist government that's just going to like it could happen on both sides.
That's what I'm
you
saying.
can't set a precedent because then it will continue in the future in a worse scenario when somebody's an actual dictator and not Donald Trump.
Yeah,
So
it's the way the system's set up. Now what they're trying to do,
on both sides, man.
And it's like now Trump's trying to like change like the teams, like trying to get those judges. Like I think the government, it's not going to pass.
Right.
But like the Republicans in Congress were trying to pass a law that said like the judges in like California that have nothing to do with like Trump and stuff aren't allowed to make rulings and stop that kind of stuff. Which I don't think is fair either, because it's like this is the way the system's set up. Right. So they're just trying. It's just a game. It's politics. They're trying to play this game.
It's interpreting the system and what's okay.
Judges, and we've said this since day one. Judges should be freaking non-biased and just read the Constitution. Just do what the law says.
They're elected locally. They put a D or an R by their name, which is
they're nominated. They're put in power by like a Republican president or a Democrat president.
So dumb.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
dumb.
They should be reading the laws,
right?
Like as
it's
they
not,
see it.
yeah.
But
because it comes down, it's not reading the laws; it's interpreting the laws.
And they interpret it to the way
somebody on the left interpreting the laws, and the right one, somebody on the right interpreting the laws.
Yeah, it's so
funny. God, I hate the legal system and I hate lawyers. Did we get another caller or no? They dropped off.
They hung up. Oh, that was rude, whoever that was.
Okay. Hey, 81 people in here right now. We appreciate you so. Oh my gosh, I just broke the mic. Appreciate you so much.
He broke the mic.
Appreciate you so much for being here.
Joe's in a bad mood today. Joe's in a bad mood. And
God, it's gonna smack me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Joe. But if you could, ladies and gentlemen, go down below, give us a like.
Oh God,
we have 5 likes. You talk.
He's gonna be disturbed.
Go fix it. 5 likes.
Okay, I'm gonna talk. He can't hear you. He can't hear you right now. No, this is my mic. Go get your own mic.
If you could, look at this. You never see us loving on each other as brothers. If you could, go down below, give us a like, give us a follow, give Youngstown Studio a like and a follow. We need more likes. Also call in. We have more topics to talk about today.
Touching me.
And thank you all for commenting and being here. All right, I'll go back to my side. You're doing so great, big guy.
So nasty. Like, okay.
Luke is a cactus.
I am. All right. So let's talk about this. So let's go through the comments. You want to go through comments real fast before we switch? We're going to go to the South Range stuff here shortly.
Wayne Grider says, 2-party system sucks. I'm right there with you, big guy.
Yes.
Joe, can I touch this or is it going to break?
What, the mic?
Yeah.
It's tight now.
Okay.
Sorry.
I didn't even do I just like touched it, like pulled it down and just
Joe always says I'm gonna break everything, and
Joe coming in this morning, he's like, I don't know what it is, Isaac. I'm angry this morning. And now me and Luke are like walking on eggshells. I'm afraid I'm gonna and then I break stuff
over there like, just why are you
he's gonna hit something? He's gonna hit me.
You're in a bad mood today.
I'm in a bad mood. And
is it like,
I'm just getting
are you fighting with
right
misses?
now.
Like, what's going on?
Nothing. I'm just aggravated.
It's the kid. Is it the kid?
No, the kid's great.
What's the problem?
I walked in, he was playing Limp Bizkit, break something. Break some stuff.
Usually low key.
Renee Marie, call back. Call back, Renee Marie, if you want to call back.
One of those days.
Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna switch this here to South Range here shortly.
Jennifer says that's why it's called a balance of power. Chuck says, but their district judges and Supreme Court is the only court equivalent to the president.
Mary, I kind of see that point too.
Mary says post office delivers to every address. Many carriers / businesses rely on them to do it.
Yep.
I tried. Renee said I could try calling, got disconnected. Julie says Article 3 of the Constitution gives judges the power and responsibility to stop unconstitutional actions of the President of the United States. Which, if that is in the Constitution, that should be held to the utmost importance because our founding fathers were not stupid.
But I think
so. It's like
they're saying the problem is it's the local judges doing it versus the Supreme
Court.
Right. So follow the stinking rules. Just do it the way. Don't bring in some other local judges or whatever.
Well, I think that's the rule. They're allowed to do that. The local judges are allowed to do that currently, and that's what the Republicans have a problem with.
Right.
Where the local judges,
so then in that scenario,
in California, and it's always like California, New York, which are the most liberal.
So in that scenario, I say follow the Constitution, which is hilarious because the left recently, like even Obama is like, oh, we need to like be more careful with the Constitution. There are some issues in there with like freedom of speech and stuff. We need to be more. It's like, no, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No.
So I think
Follow the stinking Constitution. Follow the rule.
I mean, I think the way you got to do it is you got to go through the process, right? So then the local judges do it, then they're going to fight it, and then it's going to go up. But I think the thing is, it's like the delay game that where they're trying to delay it as long as possible.
Yeah, I think if you challenge something and you did it just to be stubborn, you
It should be
shouldn't be able to
immediate.
challenge. There should be some kind of consequence.
Yeah, right.
So real quick before,
Well, they're not. They're federal local. You know what I'm talking about. They're not local. I'm not saying like freaking what's his name, the
state
dude.
judges.
Yeah,
district judges.
yeah, I understand that. It's not like the dude that hit a bike and that hit the kid on a bike. What was his name?
that was drunk at the
That was drunk, and they never said he
And
was.
they
What was his
never-
name?
Rushenbaum.
Krish Baum. The kid that hit the
Krish
bike.
Baum.
Yeah, kid that hit the kid on
Freaking
the bike.
local judge that hit a kid on a bike going home in the middle of the night. Went home, had his lawyer call in the
Yeah,
morning.
that was-
Wonder where he was coming from in
Yeah.
the middle of the night.
Yeah, that
Who
was
knows?
crap.
Isaac, before the mailman gets here, I want you to hit him with a couple questions.
Okay.
So Postal Service, obviously, they're
The mailman?
Yeah.
they're dismantling it. They lost $9 billion last year.
Okay.
And so if they went down to like a reduced delivery schedule, like only a couple days a week, or cut expenses, ask him how he feels about.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Would you
And his
care?
name's Isaac, so he
Would you
rules.
care if they cut the mail down to like 3 days a week?
I don't care.
I
who gets the mail? Who gets that important? All of my mail is junk.
95% of my mail is
All
junk.
of my mail is junk.
95% of my mail is junk.
Scam mortgage, like being a mortgage guy, you know what I get from all my clients all the time is, hey, this came in the mail.
Yeah.
Is it a scam? Yes, it's a scam. 99% of the time it's a scam. The only thing that I get that's worth anything is if it's coming from the government.
Yeah.
Or if it's like a bank statement but all of that
All of them
automated
get emailed
now.
anyways.
Yeah. It gets emailed
I'm
too.
trying to think what I get in the mail. What do you get in the mail that's legit? Bills? I know all my bills are sent to email.
What they should do is just okay, so that you know it's not a scam. Have the Postal Service be nothing but mail you're getting from the government, and then privatize everything else, so that you know that this is from the word of your leaders, and they know okay, it comes from the Postal Service. It's important, and you keep it.
Do that once a
Privatize
week.
everything else,
Like once a
Once
week.
a
once a week.
Yeah.
Once a week, and then see. And this is why it sucks, because that sounds really efficient. That sounds really good. But my boy Isaac, who comes in here as the Postal Service guy's like, they're going to cut me down to 1 day a week. That blows. That's horrible for me. I only get 1 day of work. Like, I don't.
But if they commercialize it, they still use Isaac to deliver the commercial versions of it, and they can still make money. And
I'll bet Isaac wouldn't get paid as good and
If,
benefits
yeah,
would be as good.
because they're going to cut him. They're going to Shanghai.
but
him.
losing
Yeah.
$9 billion a year, how long are you willing to subsidize somebody's work
Right.
with limited upside?
I wonder if they're losing $9 billion. I wonder what that consists of. Like what? It's just the expense of it all: the gas, the pay, the pension.
Mostly pension, mostly benefits and pension.
That's
is
the
what
thing.
they
It's the
cut.
pension. Is
The
what's gonna
workforce
pay.
is huge,
Right.
and they have huge amount of liabilities in their pension.
Yeah.
So another thing I heard on the radio this morning was
No post.
the Postal Service has to go everywhere. Private companies can pick where they go. They don't have to
Postal Service has to go to some hill in Montana or something.
and they
like
also
that,
have to go to like my thing was thinking, what if companies do private companies have to serve like the hood?
Here,
don't wanna go to the
Squeako's got it. I've heard this before. The Postal Service was never meant to make money. It's a government service. It's not a job. It's not a company.
Right.
It's a service.
Yeah, and if the stuff they were delivering were necessary in modern culture, I would say okay. But if you can hit all places at least once per week, I think that's still doing enough.
Yeah.
Right.
You're still getting that service.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
you
then
are
if
just getting that service if it's
you
1 day a
want
week. Huh.
better service, you pay extra for it.
Exactly.
Ooh. Ooh.
That'll be the commercial side of it.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then I like the if it comes from the Postal Service, you know it's like the word of God. It is the government and it's not a scam. It's like I think giving them that role is
Yeah.
important too.
I'm
IRS documents.
I'm
when
an
they'll pay
old
taxes.
old person who still used snail mail for everything. God, Doreen, you write a check when you do your groceries, don't you? We still need USPS. Not everyone
That
does.
person in line.
Doreen, do you write checks at the grocery store?
Doreen's one of those ladies that's like, thank God they have self checkout. Because she's like, oh, I got this bottle. Let me put it on the conveyor belt.
Can I get a
got
price check?
I got this phone. Let me put it on the conveyor belt. Oh, I got these keys. Let me put
Poor
it on
Doreen.
the conveyor belt here.
Doreen, we're messing.
And I'm just like, oh, like, and then they're like, I don't like self checkout. It's like, I'm going to self checkout. I don't understand why.
She says, yes, I do all. Dory totally writes a check. I think. Oh, Dory, I'm messing with you. All right, let's get on to next topic. All right, this one, Joey, ready for? I don't know if you've heard anything about.
I didn't hear anything. So
I didn't think you heard anything about this. All right. Whoa, here we go. So, South Range Local Schools, located in Canfield, Ohio,
Where we grew up.
For the record, yeah, I was looking for my hoodie. It was dirty. My favorite hoodie was dirty. There you go.
Cut off season.
So, South Range Local Schools. It is located between Greenford and North Lima, Ohio. It's a school that has about 1,300 kids, 1,250 kids. It is open enrollment. It went open enrollment 20 years, 15 years ago.
No. I was out of high school. It was probably 2015, I bet.
All right.
2016.
And
it was a few years after they built a school.
right.
And they're basically, hey, we don't have enough money to survive. We're going to go open enrollment.
Okay. So
In a nutshell.
of the 1,250 kids, how many kids do you think are open enrollment?
20%.
Pretty close. 300 kids.
Yeah.
300
Yeah.
some kids. I'm just throwing out estimates, but
Yeah.
around 300 and some kids are open enrollment.
That's a lot of kids.
That's way more than I thought it would be.
Right.
That is way
lot of
more
kids.
than I thought it would be.
Right.
And again, I'm not an expert on this. I've talked to a bunch of people. I actually called the schools yesterday on this issue. I talked to the superintendent, Jared, yesterday. I've talked to a parent. I've talked to a couple faculty. I've talked to people about this.
Right.
So on Friday of last week, 13 families of 7th and 8th grade students received a letter. And let me see if I can find it.
And while Luke's looking for that, if you
I
haven't
actually
already,
posted.
83 people watching, go down below, give us a like. We only have 18 likes right now. We want to get that up to 80.
So 13 students and families received this letter, and I'm going to read it. It's not long, but dear parent, thank you for your interest in open enrollment with South Range Local Schools for the upcoming 25-26 school year. We truly appreciate your interest in our schools. Now, keep in mind, this isn't a new kid. These are kids that have gone to the school. Okay. After careful review of our current enrollment numbers, we regret to inform you that your students' open enrollment for 2025-26 school year has been denied. There are several factors that are considered when determining open enrollment acceptance each year. The primary considerations include available space, resources, staffing, and our goal to optimize the learning experience of students within each grade level. This aligning with administrative guidelines for the implementation of open enrollment policy PO 5113, interdistrict open enrollment, complying with relevant state laws and guidelines, your child open enrollment application is denied due to set district capacity limits by grade level, school building, and educational programs. We understand this is disappointing news. We appreciate your understanding. For the 2025 school year, you must register with your home district. That is from the superintendent.
Yes.
Okay. They basically cut, in summary, 13 kids that are on what's called an IEP.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically it's an improvement plan
Mm-hmm.
for these kids. The reason I called the superintendent, and the superintendent explained to me that he did it because 7th grade and 8th grade have 30% of the students on IEPs. They want to have 13 to 16 kids in each classroom in the IEP, like in the IEP classrooms.
Yep.
Currently, there would be 26. So they have to cut these kids from each grade to get the numbers down.
Okay.
I asked him, why are you not willing to hire another staff person for it versus getting rid of these kids?
Mm-hmm.
He said, the goal of the district and the goal of the school has always been to use the open enrollment money from the state on the open enrollment kids and not have to go into the pockets of the South Range people.
Right.
So
the money coming from the state for open enrollment goes to
Correct.
open enrollment, and that's it.
right, if they were to hire another staff member, it wouldn't cover it. And he said the IEPs are already it's expensive to have these kids on IEPs.
Yeah.
So they're unwilling to do that, and they have to cut this stuff.
Mhm.
I talked to a parent this morning. They understand why it's happening. They are unhappy with the letter.
Mhm.
They didn't get a phone call till Monday.
Mhm.
trying to explain to your kid who's gone there since they were in kindergarten, all of a sudden,
man.
all of a sudden your school doesn't want you anymore.
That's tough.
And also, and I don't know, I'm trying to figure out the details. According to the parent this morning that I talked to, there are kids that are open enrollment in those grades that didn't get denied.
That aren't IEP.
That are IEP. But
so
didn't
they
get
picked.
denied.
How did they pick? That's the question.
He asked the schools, how did these kids get picked? And mine didn't. And the school said, privacy reasons, we can't disclose why.
Ooh, that's tough.
Right? So, man, that is freaking rough.
Yeah, that's tough.
So you have 13 kids that can't go to the school they've gone to since they were kindergarten.
Yeah.
Open enrollment school.
Yeah.
That has 300 kids.
So, as someone who lives in South Range,
A tax-paying person.
as a taxpayer in South Range,
Right.
I just wanted to say, why are you stirring the pot? Poland. Why don't you stay in Poland?
Right.
I understand you're a South Range graduate, but you live in Poland. Why does your opinion even matter?
The reason Isaac is saying this is because I got 2 text messages and a Facebook message last night from old school South Range people.
Yeah, the old South Range family.
And when I say not me old school, I'm talking like our parents' age.
Yeah.
Why did you post that? What are you doing?
You have absolutely no correction. Like, you have no opinion on the matter. You're just stirring the pot. You don't have any answers.
Right. I'm gonna cover this right now. I'm gonna look right at the camera while I do this. 1, if the local news media does it, are they stirring the pot? No. 2, these parents, faculty, and staff
Are scared.
messaged us
Yeah.
to get the word out. I am not going to sit here and not use our platform to not help get the word out. I don't know where I stand with this. I'm not sure what the answer is. However, when I have people that reach out to Isaac and I and say, please help us get the word out to bring news to the public, I am going to do that. Now, you local people who always have a problem that hide and you want to pass things in your local government, your school boards, and you don't want anybody to ruffle feathers.
Yeah.
Fight me.
Yeah.
Because you have gone too long for ever and ever and ever getting away with this crap. Now, I'm not saying
It's just hiding in the shadows, sweeping stuff under the rug. That's not how it works anymore.
I am not saying South Range Schools is doing the wrong thing. However, to call me and tell me I'm stirring the pot is ridiculous.
And I know you guys love to say, oh, this doesn't apply to you too. You're not involved. Luke, you live in Poland. I live in South Range. I live walking distance from the school. I walk by it every single day. I'm a taxpayer, and you guys can suck it to tell us that our opinion doesn't matter. I live there. So I have some. We'll talk more about it.
I graduated from South Range. I am in the Hall of Fame of South Range. I donate to South Range still. Don't tell me I don't have a freaking opinion.
The old ways of sweeping things under the rug, keeping things quiet. That's not the way to communicate as a leadership, as a school board, as a school district. Because here's why it's dumb. I'll tell you right now. Because those parents then take that letter, send it to podcasters like us, post it on social media, and the people get talking. So what do you have to do? You have to get a superintendent. You have to get your leaders out in front of the people and explain it up front, not try and hide stuff, but get out in front of it and talk about it. Talk why you made your decisions. If people don't agree with your leadership decisions, that's tough, but you did a good job as a leader, and you got out and you explained it, and you did a good job efficiently communicating the issue. So that's what you have to do today. It doesn't work. The old way of, hey, we made a decision, everybody keep it on the hush hush. That's not how it works anymore.
And I heard that South Range does this stream their school board meetings because they don't have the technology.
That's BS, man.
That is bullshit.
You could stream it from an iPhone. But they just stream.
If him and I, but now we use Josie. If him and I,
He and I.
if Isaac and I,
Isaac and I.
Don't challenge him. He's gonna hate you.
Sorry. Obviously, it's my South Range education kicking in there.
Right.
If Isaac and I can set up a podcast and stream stuff, so can South Range.
Right.
Schools.
Stream it from your damn
But
phone.
I go back to the fact, local governments, I will stick with this. They'll say, oh, we want to stream. We want to get the... No, you don't.
No, you don't.
You want to get the stuff underneath the freaking radar. Poland Local does it. Everybody does it.
Right.
So
do you have a question about it? Because it sounds like a money thing more than anything.
100%.
So if somebody leaves a district with open enrollment, should the money from the state travel with them 100%?
It does.
100%? And they can't hire teachers if you have those 23 kids coming in at full rate, $10,000 a student?
They're saying the kids with the IEPs, this is the way the superintendent described this to me, the kids with the IEPs. Now, I don't know how accurate this is, but this is what the superintendent told me. Again, I called and did my due diligence. He explained it to me, the kids with the IEPs, because you have to have faculty, staff, training, hours, all this stuff. It costs more than you get from the state. And when those kids transfer from the schools, it costs way more.
But if you have one class that's doing it with 13 kids, if you scale that up to a second one, bringing in that same money, shouldn't you be able to scale a second class just like you did the first one? That doesn't make
correct, but they don't have enough kids, though, is what they're saying.
They don't have enough kids.
Right.
Okay.
They don't have enough kids to cover 2 classes. They have enough. They have it's like they're eliminating 13 classes to get the 7th grade down to the right amount.
That makes
sense. So, and I will say, as a taxpayer living in South Range, I agree to an extent. How they did it is wrong, but I agree to an extent because I think the school district, the kids within the school district obviously are going to hold priority. I think they're a priority. And then I also think that
why do they hold priority?
Because they live there. It's our district.
But those kids are open enrollment, the money.
Why did they go to open enrollment in the first place?
Well, because they don't want to go to their home schools.
No, why did South Range?
Money.
So they went. They wouldn't have done it if they didn't have to.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think those kids. I think it's super important to have our school district. Not like I think it's super important to, if you live in the district, you are. I mean, you got to draw the line somewhere, right? And then, as somebody who lives in the district, those kids that IEP kids, if we don't have enough people to serve those kids the way they deserve to be served and help them in whatever they need, if we're not doing that correctly, then as a parent, if you're sending your kid to our school, they shouldn't be sent to our school if we can't help them in the way they need help. So you have to send them as a parent. You should send them somewhere else because, hey, we're going to, if we don't have the money to do it, it's not going to be what they deserve. So you're going to have to go somewhere else either way because the services are going to fall.
So you're saying you understand why the school does it.
Yeah.
However, it was bad the way they did it with the letters.
The way they communicated it.
Right.
Like you just hide, like in that situation, if you're gonna tell somebody, hey, your kid's not going to our school anymore, probably go knock on their door and talk to them, not send them a letter.
Right.
Like you should probably listen, this is all I'm gonna answer all your questions. Especially if they're like, oh, it was only 3 kids.
Probably
if it's only 3 kids, go see them at their house.
Or call each person, say the issue, and then have a meeting with all the parents. It's probably
right. So then I can answer all your questions and settle all the settle the debate. And there's no talking on social media.
Pop up.
Can you do a good job as leaders? Do it.
Hello, Tiffany. What's going on?
Hi. I just wanted to first thank you for discussing this, for doing, like you said, your due diligence, and just having this discussion. I understand that it's complex, and I'm an educator, and I really believe that these kids are victims of a broken system. It's really sad. I understand that they are from open enrollment, and that means that they're not from that area, but those kids went there for years.
Right.
And to just get a letter like that, like you said, the way it was done was wrong, but the way the system is structured is clearly wrong too.
Right.
Because this school is in this position to begin with, right?
Right.
I will point out that the Department of Education at the federal level has a program called the Individuals for Disability Education Act, or ITEA.
Okay.
It's supposed to support students with IEPs. It's supposed, because they are more expensive than a student without IEPs.
Right.
So the idea is to supplement with services to support these students. Our Department of Education is being gutted, it's being shuttered by the current administration. And as an educator, I'm deeply concerned about that because the Department of Education opened in 1980 to support, so that all of our kids could get the education that they deserved. And, you know, before that, it was completely up to the states, which, by the way, I completely support the states structuring their curriculum and having control over their education. They do have a lot of control over their education already.
Right.
But at the end of the day, the states were not supporting their students in the ways that they needed to be supported. And for me, that's where the federal government plays in. If we are not collectively solving a problem, or the problem is too big for us to solve on our own, okay, then maybe we should, at the federal level, provide some sort of supplement there to have that support, to have that, just to have that structure. So, because sometimes problems are too great for a town, for a superintendent, for even a state to solve on its own. So I really hate that this is already happening in our area. I'm heartbroken for these families and for these children who've been singled out. And I'm disappointed that support system is now being shuttered.
I talked to a principal yesterday from another school district, and he was explaining to me how the state of Ohio has a bill going through. Maybe you're familiar with this. I didn't have enough time to look this up. Where if it passes in the summer, a lot of these schools, and I know South Range is one of them, is going to lose a lot of money from the state. Have you heard that? I think Canfield was one of them too.
Yeah. And Canfield's not, I mean, we have amazing staff, but the facilities themselves are really not acceptable.
I tried to help with that one.
I know, a whole different can of worms.
I tried to help with that one.
Everything Canfield has actually been talking about. They've been using South Range as an example of why not to build a new school, because they said you build a new school, you spend all that money, then you do exactly what South Range did, and you become open enrollment because you don't have any money, because you have this big new facility you have to take care of. And then they said, well, now they're getting rid of IEP kids. What a bad school. Like you just get this. They're just talking crap about South Range now. It's like, good.
All right. Well,
good Lord.
Well, thanks for calling, Tiffany. We appreciate it. If you ever hear anything, feel free to call us. We're here Tuesdays and Thursdays. You know, anything with the school stuff. I'd be curious to see where this is all going to go. I mean, I have a wife who teaches. I have 3 boys in Poland School District. I mean, it's terrifying. So, I mean, this isn't the first time I've heard about cutbacks and IEPs and all this stuff. So,
thank you for what you're doing.
All right, you're welcome. So, thanks. So, I got to tell you, another thing that's a problem. So, a lot of these aides, are paid through the county. Okay. So these aides that go into the schools, that help the IEP kids, they're not paid through the school. Some of them are, some of them aren't. Most of them are paid through the county in like county aid positions. How much do you think they make an hour?
Is it like, I bet they're like donating their time.
How much do you think they make an hour? They make an hourly wage.
$11.
Joe, any guess? No idea. $13 an hour.
Almost had it.
$13 an hour. Some get benefits, some don't. They don't get paid during the summer.
Okay.
$13 an hour.
Yeah.
To be an aide. Dude,
I have so many questions.
I could go to freaking I think Starbucks pays that. Does Starbucks pay and you get benefits?
Minimum wage.
I don't know about benefits, but I think they're
$18 an hour, dude.
So I have questions.
Like, it's crazy.
So first question. And if the freaking leadership of my school district that I live in did it correctly, we would have these answers, but they don't communicate properly. Why can't they how much money is it that they're saving? Why can't they let those kids that are already in the system go through and say, hey, no more? We're not taking, we have to cut down to this. So in the future, we're not letting in.
It's like a per student thing. It's like each student has like an estimated cost based on their IEP is the way it was explained to me. Right.
Yeah.
And then you get so much money from the government based on that, but it's not enough.
So
to
my
cover
question would be, as a parent,
just let
I'd
them
say,
go through.
Why can't you let them go through, and then in the future you cut it back
Because
and you don't let new kindergartners or new kids?
Again, the way the superintendent explained to me is the state has a rule with how many kids are in a classroom with IEPs, and the school has a policy, and they're over if they don't hire staff. They don't want to hire somebody. It all comes down to hiring somebody, and then they hire someone. Those kids go through. They have to fire somebody or have extra staff. And you got to understand, when they hire, these schools don't want to hire staff,
right?
Because it's not just pay, it's also benefits, which is a killer. It's also, you understand, it's retirement, which is a killer, and it just drains the things.
I have a question.
Yes.
This is not kind of a little bit off topic. If you open enroll, if your school decides we're going to open enrollment, could you make it like, could you pick and choose who you take? Or is it like, hey, first come, first serve with open enrollment?
I don't know that answer.
Because could you be like,
I'll tell you what,
hey, we're only going to let the smartest kids come to South Range.
I'm pretty sure a lot of schools, not saying South Range does it, but I know some schools that do open enrollment that only take the athletes. I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah, that's right. The best football and basketball players at South Range, all of a sudden they keep getting open enrolled to like Mooney and in Ursuline.
Well, no, that's parochial. I think that's different, but that's parochial. But I think, from what I've heard, now if some of the people from Canfield,
you can make it like a college.
I know Canfield is bitter because a lot of their athletes went to South Range.
Right.
I'm very
sure.
I've heard from parents.
The football coach refused to play them at football too. I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah. They can pick. But then at the same time, I have buddies who live down the street right on the border of Canfield and South Range, and they're like 2 houses down from South Range.
Should they go to South Range or go to Canfield?
So he's trying to get his kids to open enroll to South Range, but he's like, dude, we're gonna go all night. We're gonna cook out.
Why? Why is he
it's first come first serve.
Why does he want to go to
South Range? He wants his kids to go to South Range. He wants his kids to go to more of a smaller class sizes than Canfield. Smaller kids in the class.
What's the difference in sizes?
I think Canfield's bigger. So, and I said, like, dude, you do realize, like, Canfield Schools is very sought after, one of the best. Now I want my kids to go to South Range, which I respect that too. So he's like, that is first come, first serve. So he's like waiting in line.
Go ahead, read some of those. Oh, there's Stephanie.
Stephanie, who's, I would say, smarter than us, says, my understanding is that districts can select OE students based upon present criteria, i.e. policy is 25 students per class, 23 students per class. You can fill 2 seats per class. That's insane.
Canfield has 23-24. Canfield has 2,400 students, 2433.
Total?
South Range had 1,200 or whatever.
So it's half.
So
they want, so he's like, I want my kid to go to a smaller school so they know everybody in their class. I'm like, I get that.
I'm just pulling half.
Megan says, but we are talking about kids that have been Raiders since day one. Yeah, see, that's tough.
See, and this is what I understand the numbers.
Yeah,
I understand that the not wanting to hire, even though I don't agree with it. You know, I get it. I understand why the school's doing it. I understand why the school board's doing it.
Right.
But when it comes down to it, you have 13 kids.
Right.
13. We're not talking about 100.
Right.
13 kids that have, a lot of them have been Raiders. Maybe these kids haven't been on IEP. The other thing that I keep hearing is a lot of these kids weren't IEP from the beginning.
Right.
Maybe last year they got put on an IEP because they had a learning problem, right?
Yeah.
They are South Range Raiders in their heart.
Right.
This 13-year-old, right? Lucas's age. Imagine Lucas being told, hey man, you can't come here anymore.
Right.
That would decimate a kid.
So then my question would be, my next question would be, can you as a school board say, hey, we don't want to do this, but the only way we do it is if the people in the district okay it, who live here, who pay the taxes here, would you pay extra to keep those kids and then put it up to a vote? Do you think the South Range people would say, yes, keep them, they've been a Raider since day one? Or do you think they would say, no, get rid of them, they don't belong here? Because I think there are some people that we know that would say, no, we shouldn't have even gone to open enrollment. These kids are trash that come from other neighborhoods. Because there are some terrible legacy South Range people that are assholes.
that they don't want open enrollment.
No.
They never did.
No.
Keep those kids. It's the same thing that we hear
Yeah.
in Poland.
They're
Keep
trash
those
coming from
kids
other-
out
yeah.
of our school.
Yeah, it's so.
Oh, it's gross. And you people who say that are nasty. And
Yeah.
here's the thing. South Range went to open enrollment
Right.
because they were going underwater.
Right.
They should be thanking those open enrollment kids for saving their schools.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, what do we got here?
What's your thoughts on siblings being separated?
Oh, that's another one too. So
Yeah.
the parent I talked to this morning, one kid just graduated. I'm going to probably botch this. It'll be close though. One kid just graduated. He's going to like college, like a nice school, right? Kid is a freshman or sophomore, and then the other kid is in 7th or 8th grade.
Right.
Kid that's a sophomore still going.
Right.
They have to find a school for the 7th or 8th
Yeah.
grade. That's bad. Too.
That's
Like,
terrible. Yeah, I would if I was that parent, I'd say no. I'd spit in the face of South Range. My kid's coming. We're leaving. We're not staying.
but then they don't want them to go to their home school.
yeah, I don't know. That's tough.
I mean, you can go to a Catholic, so like a
I would
parochial
send them
school.
somewhere else. Lynn Temple says, like my sister said, you all go door to door fundraising for athletics. Why can't you do it in this scenario? That's what I'm saying. Like, go door to door. Put that. If I was IEP kid out there and say, hey, they're gonna kick me out of South Range. Is there anything you can give to help me stay at South Range? And that would be awesome. Or have people go door to door and try and raise money.
I mean,
But I think there's rules. I don't know if you're allowed to. The school board's allowed to accept that money and take that money.
I don't know.
Without going through the proper channels.
Okay, wait. Read that Go Play Systems. That's a good.
Go Play Systems says South Range has had 5 IEP teachers this year.
So they're not
2
rehiring.
years ago. Went down to 4 last year and now down to 3 this year. So they keep cutting.
I asked the superintendent if somebody had, maybe I didn't ask the question right. Next year, like if somebody was retiring, because I was thinking maybe it's a staffing thing.
Right.
And he said nobody was retiring or anything. So maybe
Right.
they've been cutting down lately.
Right.
Right. So that makes sense.
Yeah, and if there are plenty of people with money in South Range. And if you said, hey, there's these 13 kids, we need this much money per year, we need to raise doing whatever.
Here we go.
Then I think you'd have to see the number. People would need options. Hey, you gonna put this caller on, or are we gonna have to do our job over here?
I'm looking something up.
I didn't want to say anything to her because you're going to yell at me.
Come to this studio. He doesn't
Open
service.
enrollment
Keep the talent happy.
is that
Joe.
there can't be tuition paid into it in order to get that money. So there's a restriction on.
It has to come from the state.
Yeah.
There you go. Can't be fundraised.
Wow. And this they won't make a like it's okay because it's just a one-time thing for 13 kids to get these 13 kids to freaking graduate.
Oh.
All right, let's take this caller.
It's Matt again. Matt,
Hey.
you're calling again. 2-time caller. What's up?
I'm sorry, I'm passionate about this. My kid has an IEP, so that, like, it's insane. I can't believe that happened. The fact that they're moving kids with IEPs is just going to damage their education severely, like absolutely, like horribly.
That's
Right.
right, dude. I was thinking that too. So again, each IEP is different, but you have these kids that, I mean, just the normal kid, not even on an IEP, needs a stable situation, right?
Right.
And then you have these kids that
Exactly.
are special needs that have, and then you're going to pull them out of the school, away from their friends, away from the teachers,
Away from their system that they already have set up.
and
Yeah.
stick them in other schools because, hey, sorry, we're not making much money off of you.
That's a terrible thing.
Right?
There's got to be something. There's gotta give the people options, like Stephanie said.
What's the answer though? Matt, what do you do? I don't know what the answer
As
is.
a parent, do you know how much something like that costs the school per year to keep one of those kids in? Do you know?
I mean, I couldn't imagine. It's probably expensive.
Right, yeah, right.
It's definitely not cheap because they need the training and they need the resources, like you guys have already said. But like you guys also said, they got all that money for the football program. And it's not just South Range that does that. Like other schools in the area, I'm not going to name them because, people will figure out from where I'm from, but
Right.
they fund the football program like crazy. And then I know you guys said it was like $13 an hour at South Range.
Yeah.
For the workers. There's another school, again, not going to name names because it will get someone in trouble, but they pay the minimum wage, which is ridiculous.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know. You got to be careful though, because you could yell at the schools, but a lot of those special positions come from the county. and are paid from the county.
Because the county's fault.
Because it's the county's fault. You got to be careful with that. I learned that lesson because
But
I'm like, why the hell is the person making $13 from the school? And they're like, dude, that's paid from the county.
Yeah.
It's like, that's crazy. Wow. I'm just looking here.
Like, how do you justify that amount of money to hire someone to handle a very difficult classroom? Multiple kids with IEPs. You have to treat each one very carefully, and yet they're making less than someone that works at McDonald's.
So it's not the teacher though. It's an aide that sits in on a classroom and just helps that one specific child, right? That's how it works. I know nothing about this.
Oh no. You would think so, but it's not. It's an aide that does go in the classroom, so they're not teaching the class.
Yeah.
But for example, my family member, I'm not going to say who, was a parapro that would go in and assist. And they would have multiple students they would have to work with. It wasn't just one. So they were multitasking the entire time.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot of responsibility. Yeah.
Now they would have to focus on one student at some points because they had a higher requirement for their IEP, but during the day they were working with multiple students.
Huh.
Let me
it's complicated, man. It really is.
Matt, thanks for calling in, man. I got a letter from a parent here that they actually wrote to the school board. Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, let's do that.
Matt, thanks for calling, dude.
Thanks for calling in again, buddy. Appreciate you watching the whole time too.
All right. Letter from a parent. This is addressed to all the school board, and it looks like a couple other admins. To whom it may, this is long, but you okay with that?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just reading comments here. Andrea said,
I
Luke and Isaac,
that.
Not all IEP kids are in special classes or have a parapro or
I
aide.
understood that.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. I honestly don't know that much about it.
Yeah,
so.
you have. It depends on the level of the IEP. Like there's some that there's the special needs kids.
Right.
There's the what I mean. Just learning
they don't work with
disabilities.
just one kid.
That's what kids have. You could have a kid having problem in math, and they get put on an IEP. It's different levels.
It's okay.
You understand?
Yeah.
All right. To whom may concern, this is a letter from a parent. I am writing in response to the letter regarding our son, I'm not going to say his name, not being accepted for the 25-26 school year. The explanation given, insufficient staff to support both district and non-district students, raises concerns, especially given that priority was explicitly given to district students. It is troubling to note that the staff for IEP support has been reduced from 5 employees to 2 in recent years, which suggests that this may have been part of a longer-term plan, not just a recent issue. So they're saying people left, they didn't rehire, and knew this was going to happen, and then that way they're going to get rid of the open enrollment.
The can down the road,
and they maybe even a little bit of an accusation of you knew this was going to happen. You're going to get rid of the open enrollment kids. Okay. I would appreciate further clarification on this matter. The letter mentioned that I could contact the superintendent for further information, but since he has not returned my calls, he did end up returning his calls, by the way. I was assisted by Ms. Sibio. However, there are several questions that remain unanswered, and I believe they require clarification. Number 1, how many students were not accepted for the 25-26 school year? I know that answer. It was 13. Okay. Were all these students those with IEPs? Those students all had IEPs. Yes, I know that answer. If so, why were some open enrollment students with IEPs accepted for the 25-26? He's saying, like I said before, some were allowed in, some weren't. That would make me mad.
right?
If I was,
Why was my kid not picked?
that would piss me off.
Yeah, and they said they can't answer it.
That would piss me off because you know what the first thing I'm thinking is, this is bad. But where does my brain go? Does the kid play football or basketball in 7th or 8th grade? That's the first thing that pops into my head.
Yes,
that is the first thing that pops into my head.
Right.
Not saying that's the case at all.
Or is it? Once again, I don't know how this works, but is it someone who has is harder to take care of than somebody who's just very?
There are also rules in defense of Southridge. There are also rules, I believe, with the state where if you have a disability, not an IEP, but a disability, they can't cut you from open enrollment. I'm not an expert on that. That's what I was reading.
What does IEP even stand for?
What does IEP stand for, Joe? It's I know it's a educational something.
Okay, keep going with your letter. Sorry.
Who specifically selected the students who were accepted? What criteria were used to select the open enrolled students who were accepted? For example, did it include factors such as starting at South Range in kindergarten, having siblings enrolled, having siblings who graduated from South Range, having a parent who works at the school? Individualized education plan. Thank you.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Everybody that's
Yeah,
smarter than us.
that's what Joe just showed me on the phone. The Google.
Is it possible for my son to opt out of his IEP and return next year? There's an idea. Don't give me my IEP.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want an IEP anymore. I'm done. That's a great,
Yeah.
right? That's good. I don't want an IEP. If the school district determines the need for additional staff due to school district students requiring IEP, will this open up space? So let's say they do hire someone.
Yeah.
If I decide to purchase a home within school district and the ratio of intervention specialists to the students is maxed out, will my son IEP still be honored? Yes, I can answer that. The school, if you live in the school district, has to honor the IEP. Follow that?
Yeah.
Like it's not,
Yeah.
they can't get ready. They can't, I'll do it. Can my son receive tutoring from honor students who are currently assisting children with IEPs due to
That's
staffing
cool. I
limitations?
love that.
Let's do that one. Could open enrollment kids who are gifted be denied in future due to limited resources? That's a good question. Because you get as a gifted, I don't think it's the same though. Like gifted and IEPs aren't the same, but I'm not sure. You get put on a gifted program. Do raises for leadership? Ooh, here's a good one. Do raises for leadership take precedence over resources for current students? From what I'm hearing, the superintendent has a good paycheck, and a lot of the admin have a good paycheck in South Range too. And they've gotten raises. Like the treasurer got a raise. A lot of people got raises, and the people in the comments probably know more about that. But that's what I'm hearing.
But didn't you say that doesn't matter because the money comes from the county?
That's true too. Right. That's a good point too. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Because the money comes from the county.
So if the county, but no. But what they're saying is South Range is saying they don't want to reach into their coffers to pay for a new student. They can.
Which I don't blame them though.
Right. But what they're saying is they're giving the treasurer raises. They're giving the superintendent raises.
But that's money from the school that's for the school for the people who live and pay for it living in South Range.
So, but they're saying is, wouldn't you rather? I see what you're saying. Yeah, these people are saying take that money and buy a student.
If the rule is we're not pulling from the money.
No. The rule. That's not the rule.
No. I know. If they're saying their game plan is to not pull money from those district to pay for the kids who are outside of it. If that's the game plan, I say stick to it.
Okay.
That's horrible as that is to say.
The school's
if you
policy.
disagree with that, that's fine. But as somebody who lives in the district, if that's our game plan, stick to it.
Right.
Because that opens up a whole nother can of worms if you start doing that, because today it's IEP kids, tomorrow it's other open enrollment kids, and then it's something else, and then it's something else. Stick to the game plan.
Yeah, I get it. And I guess as a taxpayer, now I just had a thought pop into my head. As a taxpayer, you continue to spend more money on teachers.
Yeah.
Hear me out here. The income coming in from the open enrollment kids stays the same. So you as a taxpayer, they hire a teacher and has to pay the open enrollment income doesn't cover the new teacher that is going to be used to cover.
Okay.
You as a taxpayer would be concerned then, because down the road, the school's going to come for a levy because they're losing money. Right? See what I'm saying?
Or you just remove the open enrollment kids.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if the school's running as a negative, but okay, we'll get it. I'm going to keep reading.
Okay.
Could open enrollment kids who are gifted, okay. If this was an issue, why was there no other options offered or conversation had prior to this letter? That I agree.
Yeah. The communication is bad.
Yep.
Bad.
What was the rationale for cutting open enrollment at middle school level? I think we established that.
Right.
This leadership has not only shown intent to phase out open enrollment students and has deepened the divide between district and open enrollment students by this decision, but has additionally drawn attention to my son and others who require specialized learning and has highlighted the differences for the peers. That sucks for those kids.
So the thing is, like this parent is worried about, is it something more hostile? Are they being quiet and pushing stuff under the rug,
slowly
trying to
eliminate
slither through, because that's the objective is, hey, backroom meeting, with all the board members, this is our game plan. We're phasing out open enrollment. So this is just one of the first steps. And they don't even want to take the questions from those parents. They just want to say, get the hell out.
Right.
And we're not talking to you. But that parent deserved a knock on the door answering all their questions. And that's terrible.
Randy says, hey, Randy, all the money is from the school. South Range has a contract with ESC to pay for the aides. The county doesn't come out of the pocket for us. Okay, got it. So South Range is paying. Okay, thanks. I know some schools do that and some schools don't, because I know some of our aides at Poland get paid through the county. Maybe it's paid through the county. The school pays for it. Again, I am not an expert at this stuff.
Quinn says that school's not going to end open enrollment because they need their championship teams. You from Canfield, Len, aren't you? I mean, Poland, to be fair, taking all your good kids.
I'm going to say 25 years ago, we won a championship without open enrollment kids. Just throwing that out there. You won a soccer thing without a open enrollment kids. Just throwing that out there.
Now they kick ass in soccer. I'd like to say I started that.
I'd like to say I started football.
You didn't start football.
Okay,
football's always been a legacy.
It was like good 4 years before me.
But I went my 8th grade year going into soccer.
Yeah,
it was a girls and boys team. And then by my freshman year, we were winning championships. Right. And then all those kids growing up saw that we were like doing good. And now South Range is like a soccer powerhouse. Awesome.
I think, okay, we're going to get into this now. I think a bigger discussion needs to be, why don't people want to go to their home districts? This is the root of the problem. Shouldn't all districts hold the same standards as districts everyone wants to flock to? We need to analyze this. I think that's a good thing. But it's like, the other question I keep hearing is, Isaac, why aren't people just that are open enrolling? Why aren't you buying houses in South Range?
Because you can't, because the supply and demand.
Oh, are they honest with you? Now, this is 16, 17 years ago.
Yeah.
I tried to buy a house in South Range. I couldn't freaking find one.
Right. I had to buy my friggin' grandma's house I had to beg my uncle not to put the house on the market so that I could buy it.
I was either going to live in the Highlands where the taxes were $14,000 a year, which I couldn't afford, or I was going to live in like Rustic Meadows off of freaking North Live Road, whatever that road is, in the trailer park. I mean, I had no options because there's no, in South Range right now, there's no real middle of the road homes. You know what I mean?
And then Nicole, why are they going there? Well, I mean, I would argue that the top 3 schools in our area ranking are, I think Canfield's number 1, Poland's number 2, South Range is probably number
somewhere
3,
around
somewhere
there,
close to number 3. So that's why.
Yeah.
And South Range is open enrollment. So everybody in the area sees that ranking and is like, that's a good school. I want my kids to go there. And if I can, I'll sit out all night and wait in line to get my kid.
But South Range shouldn't have be the only parents who feel. Yeah.
No, I agree. But
again, it's like
parents will do anything for their kids.
Well, it is just it's a tough topic. Isn't this tough? Like, my brain is going in like different directions because I always feel bad for these kids, but at the same point, Ben, it's like, but these kids live somewhere else,
right?
Like, it's like I'm so torn. Like, and again, I'm in Poland, and I couldn't imagine pulling on open enrollment. I mean, we don't like Aldi's in our town, like,
right? Oh my God, could you imagine the crazy Poland people if you did open?
They would burn the city to the ground.
Yeah, they would all gather up, go inside the school, burn the school down.
Yeah, and then you see like Hockenberry come out like,
I'll die before I let those brothers hook up into my school.
Yeah, like I don't know, man. It really surprised me when South Range went open enrollment, but knowing their financial
Sarah Greer says, "Are you looking for some land to purchase to build a house or a development, perhaps?" Sarah, when I'm not putting in a solar farm, I think I'm gonna put in a pig farm.
Pig farm, Sarah.
A pig farm. A pig farm, and just stink up all of 46.
Sarah. Do it. I need you and Wade to do it. Put in a pig farm.
Maybe that parents should sell their 60 acres. Is what Lynn said. Nicole says open enrollment isn't an entitlement. It can be reversed at any time.
Yeah.
And if they go that route, they go that route. And it's like, it's really tough. If they do that, if that's their objective.
What's that? To close open enrollment?
Close open enrollment. What they should do is they should give those parents a warning.
Well, I think
they won't.
I think the kids that are in there, you leave in.
Yeah.
And you grandfather them out.
Yeah.
You don't take any more. You know what I mean? Like, you can't kick.
But you should come up with a plan, communicate that plan so everybody knows.
Right.
But they're just afraid there will be chaos and people will be leaving in droves or whatever. But I think you have to. It is your responsibility as leadership to not be sinister and to communicate your plan and
This
deal
is-
with the consequences of this is what our game plan
But
is.
this is a problem. The community, it's not just South Range.
It's the freaking national government
But
doesn't
I'm not even talking.
Elon Musk doesn't
I am
communicate
talking about if you look at all local government, board of educations, villages, townships, communication is always a problem. When you lived in Poland, 4 or 5 years ago, for those of you watching,
I moved in 2023 to South Range.
Isaac and I harassed the school board because remember they would not communicate. They had no social
village,
media.
they're terrible.
No, I'm talking about the school. Remember the schools?
Yeah.
Maggie's ready to divorce.
They hired what's his face?
And then they hired Hockenberry.
No, the kid.
Oh, Nico.
Nico's awesome.
Yeah, but Craig hired him.
Yes.
But then they had a superintendent that wasn't transparent. They had a school board that wasn't transparent.
Yeah.
We started streaming their things to get the word out. They hated us.
Right.
School boards, villages, townships, they should all be streaming their meetings.
100%.
But they don't want to.
Because they want to keep it quiet. They want to keep you in the dark so that they can do stuff. And then
100%.
After they do it, you hear about it after the fact. It's too late for you to do anything.
100%. Now, here's my question. Have they been talking? Does anybody know? Have they been talking in school board meetings about this? Does anybody know this?
Or do they just do it?
Did you just do it? I would think they'd have to talk about it at a school board meeting, right? Does anybody know that answer? Has this been a topic prior to those letters going out?
It's so Nicole makes a good point. It's March though. How much more advanced do you want them to give? So this is for
I think the time's fine.
Yeah.
I just think I think the timing's fine, Nicole. I think
but if it's 13 kids, starting
they
today, should go bring all those people and have a meeting, or go door to door and say, hey, listen, this is what we're doing. I'm here to answer all of your questions because I want you to have an outlet because I know you're going to be upset.
Yeah.
That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
Wayne says pig farm might drop the number of people wanting to move to South Range District. I wonder if I'll be able to smell it from my house, Wayne. Maybe we should run some tests before you put it in.
Wayne, when you put it in, I'll go to Isaac. Isaac, I'll walk out to get his mail. We'll smell that far. You know what that's going to smell? That's smell like freedom.
That's going to smell like the right to do whatever the hell I want on my
freedom
property.
on my own property.
Yeah.
Pigs aren't that stinky. Well, we're going to make them stinky. They talked about They talked about open enrollment last school board meeting, but the question is, did they talk about when? Who made the decision? I would think the school board would have had to talk about this at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did, and it's just
at a meeting, because if they didn't, then that's a possible violation. Then
because they were having backroom meetings discussing it and saying
they couldn't do that.
Yeah, which they're not allowed to do. Yeah.
Unless I don't know, is the superintendent allowed to make that
I
call?
would bet they had discussions. You
couldn't do it back room. I mean, that would be
illegal. But I don't think you just in a meeting drop this. They had to have communicated it in the past somehow.
Right.
You know.
Wait, so Randy, because my wife and I have been going to the meeting since August. No discussion was held prior to last meeting when it was passed.
One of those over there.
How is that possible, Randy?
I don't know.
So they passed it last meeting. That's all I know about the open. I don't know a lot about these rules, but I know the open meeting laws. And how was that brought up? How was that discussed? Isn't there rules with Open Meetings Act and the different things where you have to vote on it? Again, I'm not that familiar with this stuff, so seems something's kind of weird with that. Write an yeah, that's a good idea. Write a Freedom of Information Act and request that. That's a good call. It is worth noting that a huge South Range attraction is the community. The personal support, friendship is unmatched, and this is what is being taken from these children who have have had this their whole career. That is the true injustice here. These children, that's what I'm saying.
There is something about the pride in being a Raider that is unmatched in local communities.
I agree with that.
The football games, the community itself, some about everybody knows everybody, but we really do care about one another.
Yeah. It's a small school.
Yeah.
It's the thing with South Range and me being a graduate.
Yeah.
It's a small school that succeeds both in education and sports.
Yes.
So there's a lot of pride there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, everybody's proud to be a Raider. Me and Shelby still go to the football games down the road, go to the basketball games because we just live. It's you always run into somebody, great to see you.
Right. I mean, I still have people come up to me all the time and say, I remember you being a Raider. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's something. It's definitely something. There's
so
an attraction to that for sure.
Right, man. But the open enrollment, I don't know. Lynn, if you get the public information request and you want to email it to us or message it to, that'd be great. Yeah. I'll do one too, just to see. I'm curious about those board meeting stuff.
Also, we have, if there's a lot of Raiders in here, we have a Facebook group called Everything Green Beaver, which is the South Range Community Facebook page or Facebook group. If you aren't already in it, go join it. Me and Luke are the admins of it, along with all the other everything pages. But if you want to be a moderator and you live in South Range, we'd love to have you help us share community events and everything that's happening in the South Range community in that group. Please reach out, message me on Facebook. I'll get you in there, and we'll make you a moderator if you live there.
Okay. I got a text message from somebody, inside source. Can I see it? I can't. They're gonna see it. You're gonna see the name. They're gonna see the name. Cover it up. Cover it up. Okay. The middle school guidance counselor is retiring. The current 7th and 8th grade IEP teacher is in line to get the job, which is why they have an issue. They are not replacing the IEP teacher, even though there is extra money because of the retirement. The powers that be are trying to show the people they are saving money for the district. I don't know how true that is and how false that is, but that's what they're saying.
Sounds like an idiot.
Yep.
I know who it is. So,
oh, look at this. I just want to let you know that I'm moving forward with the investigation into South Range schools today. I saw that you had a copy of the letter on your Facebook. I was wondering if I could use this as my story. Yes.
Is that from the news?
That's from the news.
That's right. News, baby. We're getting attention.
Sorry, you guys wanted attention. Again, doing my due diligence here. I know everybody hates it at South Range if you're on the board or you're an old school person, and I'm going to be
or your family members on the board, or you've just hated open enrollment since day one.
WFMJ is going to be at your school board meeting tomorrow. Just an FYI. Let's see here. Wow, there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Okay. Anything else? I'm trying to get Lucas to open a roll to
South Range.
No, not to South. Heck no. Not
he can sit up. He can come.
No, I want him to. I want Lucas. I want Lucas, my 5'11" or almost 5'11" 8th grader to open roll to Lowville.
I think you should come to South Range.
No,
I'll rent you one of my stalls. You can live in there.
I want him to go to Lowville. There's like 30 kids in a class. He will obviously start basketball. He will obviously start football. He'll probably play soccer. He's half Italian, so those Italian girls down in Lowville are going to absolutely love the guys. He's going to be a freaking god. He'll be a god in Lowville. And Maggie and Lucas down the hill. My wife and Lucas are not agreeing with me. I'm like, dude, I will sign you up right now.
He'd be great at basketball. He'd play. He'd start.
Oh, he'd start.
Yeah.
You got Poland. There's like 30 kids gone. I'm like, dude, he's like, I'll be fine, Dad. I'm going to play. I was like, no, you're not. Sorry, I can't help it.
But thank you, everybody, so much for watching. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, go down below, give us a like. We actually got up to 40 likes. Thank you so much. Keep going. If you haven't already, go follow the MLO Bros. Go follow Youngstown Studio, where we are currently filming this. Give the MLO Bros a like.
So grumpy.
Give Joe a like.
Can you guys email Youngstown Studio, or do you have any do you need cards?
Can you don't call me.
Okay, what I want you to do,
leave me alone today,
is go follow Youngstown Studio.
So grumpy.
Go follow Youngstown Studio, and on his post
anything today,
on his post throughout the day, if you could just drop the kissy face emoji.
No, don't do that.
On his post.
Everyone go to Youngstown Studio and drop the kissy
maybe
face.
Drop a heart on his post today.
He's so
also Luke and I, we're loan officers. We are real estate agents.
Maybe you want to move to South Range.
Maybe you want to move out of South Range. Maybe you want to move into South Range. We can finance you. We can help you as real estate agents. We can help you sell your house in South Range. You're so disgusting. You call us.
People immediately wait. Here's what everybody did. This is in South, all the old school South Range. This is why they're doing it. They're doing it for business.
Right.
I guarantee they immediately just said that.
But hey, we'll
not
help
why
you.
we do
We'll help
this.
you sell your house. We'll help you buy. We'll help you get financed.
Maybe you want to break up
refinance.
your house. Maybe
Maybe you're getting divorced and you need to refi.
maybe you own a big bunch of acres and you want to split it up before you put a pig farm on it and maybe build houses. We'll help you.
I'll buy some of that acres, guys, as long as you don't put a pig
Jeff,
farm.
we
on it.
have
I'll
to
buy
go
some.
because Joe needs to go get some. Like he's like, look at him looking at
He
me.
needs like sugar. Like he's a
What
little
are you?
upset.
Are you?
You hear Muffin and Buffy?
Are you doing your thing where you're not eating right now?
Yes.
How many hours?
Oh no, I'm just starting on it, so it's not that.
How many hours?
Just having one of those days, man.
Since yesterday, since
8
4
o'clock last night.
yesterday.
4 o'clock.
I'd be
That's
grumpy
impressive.
already. I'd be so grumpy if I didn't eat already. How long are you going for?
72 hours.
Dude,
Jeez.
I'm not coming in Thursday because like by that time he's gonna be like
End of it.
he'll be verbally abusive by then.
We'll see. I bet it'll be nice then.
Yeah.
You can't keep this mood.
No.
There's no way you keep this mood.
Oh, one more thing before you guys go. I'm talking about funding and the state and schools and funding getting cut. I'm working on Katrona coming in.
Nice.
I think next Friday.
I had
So
a couple people text me and say, "Hey, I have Katrona's number if you want to reach out to him." I'm
he
like,
called me on a cell phone.
Yeah,
What
we
did
already got it.
why would you
Yeah,
ever call me
got
on your
it.
cell phone? I think you'd block it. I'm gonna prank him. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this show on Youngstown Studio. This is original Youngstown content. Feel free to share our videos and tell your friends about us. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and